Hello everybody, it's Bucket of Baskets back, and today is a special video for the Zephyr server and the forums and all that jazz. Before we begin on what we need to do, thank you for considering this video and our wanting to become the 98th Regiment, transition from GC to 98th. This is not a new regiment. I repeat, this is not a new regiment. We are just doing this to get ourselves a new name and a new meaning onto the server, transitioning from the GC into the 98. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you can see here, these are the models we want to get from this pack. This pack will be put in the description below on where you can find it on Steam, and it'll also be put onto the forums. First one right there is the skirmisher model. We want this one to be for both the trooper and the sergeant ranks. Next over here we have the sergeant model, but we want it for the lieutenants instead. We feel like it fits them more than it does the sergeants. Next is officer. Officer has the black pauldron instead of the white one, and it is the one we want for officers. And then finally it's there. The commander model, which is has a little bit different stuff than the rest of them, so of course it's the commander. Yes. Let's continue on with the rest. Alright, so a lot of the times when there's not a lot of VIPs on, usually the GC are the ones that are the Rogue Legion. Mostly all the time, just because we're just that outlandish kind of regiment. So I feel like it's a good idea that we get some change. Looking at that in some way. Another thing is like it's a few facts about GC's long waiting of a new change is the last time we got a change was about 5 months ago, when we got the E5 instead of the DLT-19, and we have not had an armor change for 8 months. So I'm not asking for something, but it's definitely overdue. So this is another look at the skirmisher model again, and then we go into the officer model, the sergeant model, but we want it for lieutenant, and the commander model. I like this regiment. The 98th is something that we really want. We've wanted for a long time. It got turned down before just because we were kind of put it out as more of like a new regiment rather than one that the GC wants to get into. But yeah, we want this to become the GC. We want us to change in a way so that we have a purpose, a meaning. Because right now, none of the GC know what we are. We are overshadowed by the Nova and their weapons, and their armor is, we have Nova armor to begin with. And then the IC came in and kind of got our commando name taken. So we would love to change to the IC, to the GC into the 98th, just because of that. But I mean, if we stay Galactic Commandos, I'm not arguing. I kind of like the name too, but yeah. We're going to move on a little bit into some other gun-related stuff to see how the guns work. So the two weapons that the GC have decided for the 98th Regiment are the EE3 TFA version, not the Battlefront. The Battlefront one is way overpowered. The TFA is pretty balanced in every way. And then we would like the Battlefront DT-12, which is a very short range pistol as our sidearm, and we'd also like to have another thing called the bubble shield or the hex shield, and we'll get to show that later. The DT-12 does 25 damage per shot, 50 to the head and 6 to the limbs. Has no protocols and is a pretty stable recoil, only goes up and down a little bit as you see right there. And it is used for short and medium ranges, so it's good for close quarter combat. That is the EE3. It is a lot more, it's a semi-automatic weapon, the TF8 version to be exact. I am showing recoil patterns is kind of like offset. It goes either to the left or all the way to the right after a while. It is mostly used for long-range shots because it's such a deadly weapon at long ranges, as you see here. It's very accurate at those ranges and is very deadly considering the amount of damage it does per shot, which is 50 damage per normal shot, 100 to the head, and 12 to the limbs. Likewise, like you're going to be seeing here, the DT-12 is actually able to hit these shots from this range, but it's not really that effective because you can barely see them to begin with, and that weapon, if they're moving, as you see here, this is a bubble shield and it protects against any projectile other than giant explosions and nuclear weapons and stuff like that. For some reason though, TFA weapons are able to break through the shield, and I do not know why. It's probably something a glitch within the game, as TFA weapons are considered mainly like special bullets rather than actual lasers, which probably has something to do with it. This is the 360 view of the bubble. The bubble lasts for about 30 seconds. It is, like I said, nearly impenetrable. Here's on the inside, the dome of some sort. And he's all bloody in the back. Activated, the bubble shield sounds like that. We'll have a rule where you can't hold it for too long so it doesn't annoy people to death when it has that startup sound. Another rule will be that we have to ask fleet permission, just like jetpacks and grapple guns, to use in any situation, just because it's considered an outside agent other than a weapon, so we have to have fleet permission to do it. Another thing is, if you're inside the bubble shield and it's your bubble, you must stay inside so you're able to pick it up like that, and retrieve the quote-unquote grenade. It's considered a grenade because it's thrown down and you get it back, and so it has that tendency to do that. So we are going to make a rule where it's like you have to stay inside your bubble so you get your bubble thing back. So thank you for listening to this spiel here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Please consider this as a possible thing to do, and major points will be presented also in the forum in text. See you later, people. Peace.